Back to our top story now. There are more questions than answers following Monday's deadly shooting on the campus of Michigan State University. And for more on that, we are joined by retired FBI agent and profiler, Mary Ellen O'Toole. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
So the latest information that we have, again, is that the gunman was a 43-year-old man. He had no connection that they know of, past or present, to Michigan State University. And he is dead. He killed himself with a gunshot. So will we ever know why? And what clues would there be to lead us to why he did this if he has passed away already?
Well, in this case, because he's older, he may not have that social media footprint that a lot of younger shooters will have. But nonetheless, law enforcement will look through everything that he has, his computer, his cell phone, anything where he may have stored some kind of a notation or a memory so that we can have a better understanding. And if he had a storage area somewhere, that could be important as well. The whole idea is to really develop this history of when he started to think about doing something like this. And I say that because these kinds of crimes are not snapping behavior. Someone doesn't wake up some morning and just decide that they're going to do that. So we know that, unfortunately, because we've had so many of these cases. So with that theory in mind, they will go back and attempt to reconstruct mentally what he was thinking about in the days, weeks, and months before this.
We do know now also that they found at least one note on him. There was a threat for a school, but that was for a school in New Jersey, not in Michigan. Do we have any idea? You said that the theory is we will find evidence that this was planned ahead of time, but is there any indication at this point that this was planned ahead of time, since you say it's not just a snap attack?
Sure. Well, one of the things that they'll be looking for, does he have any ties to those schools in New Jersey? And I say that because many of these mass shooters are what we call injustice collectors. And what I mean by that is that they never forget something that happened to them in their life, even if it goes back to grade school. So they can ruminate over their lifetime, even as an adult, and blame their life and their life circumstances on something their fifth grade teacher did, or their freshman year in high school and what happened to them then. So they will be going back to see if this person had any ties to those two schools in New Jersey. And frankly, did he have any ties, loose though they may be, to the university? Because one thing I think that's striking to me with the university so large as this one is that for him to just have gone into and come in contact with those two the classroom and the social center without having prior experience there, it doesn't make any sense to me. He knew where he was going. And so just being on the campus is going to be important to be able to establish as well.
Now, the gunman's family said that he became evil after his mother died and that he had a history with mental health issues. The shooter also had a criminal history with weapons. He was arrested for having a concealed weapon without having a permit to carry a concealed weapon. But should the family here have said something to authorities ahead of time if they believe him to be mentally unstable and they know he has guns?
Sure, that comes up all the time. And unfortunately, what happens so often is that a family is not aware of really what the behaviors are to look for. And more importantly, the family loves their son. And to pick up the phone and call the police when you know what the outcome is going to be, he'll probably be arrested. Maybe there'll be a mental health commitment. Then he'll come back home and he'll probably be angrier than he was before. So it's a vicious circle. And so that's why we hear a lot of families say, I don't know what to do. But that wasn't an alternative. So it's really incumbent upon the community and law enforcement and mental health to really get that message out there. Families cannot be the gatekeepers in so many of these cases where they know they have a loved one, there are red flag behaviors ahead of time, and their loved one owns guns. Because the family, quite frankly, could also be ultimately a victim.
Can be victims, and certainly if you know you have someone in the family who is struggling, it's just really hard to pick up the phone and say, the thing I need to do is call police on this person. You want to love that person and help them, and it's just, it's not anybody's first reaction to call up the police and say, come get my brother, my son, etc. I understand what you're saying there. That is Mary Ellen O'Toole. She's a former FBI profiler. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.